Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Figure It Out. I am Joe. With me is, well, I would say always, always Mike, but returning, making his triumphant return back to the show is our good buddy Tyler. Tyler, what has been going on, my guy?
Oh, just no big deal. Just moving, buy a new house, selling our house. Had a contractor hired by my realtor to do a little bit of work for the buyers who flooded my old house, um, and caused us to make a very expensive repairs, replacing half the flooring in the house. All that. And then of course we had the company sponsored vacation. So it's not like I could not, I mean, we had a good time, but not like I could dip out on that either. Right. So yeah, just, one or two things, no big deal.
Well, at least you finished on a high note. Company sponsored vacation. You should be well rested and ready, refreshed to talk about talking figs, man. Talking toys. That's what we're here to do. Speaking of which, let's just jump right into it. New acquisitions. Have you got any?
I have not, yeah,
Besides a new
um,
house.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I got a new place to put all my doodads, but I don't have any doodads for it just yet.
Well, Mike, what do you got?
I've been good, man. I haven't got
Oh,
anything.
okay.
Mike's living clean over there.
Living
Well,
clean
I'm
these
not
days.
because I got
Oh,
my boy.
rock and roll.
Oh man, these backgrounds. They're, they're bad. There we go. Okay. Yeah. Got
Looks
my
good.
retro rock and roll.
Looks
I swear
good.
I'm going to take him out of the package.
He could
Um,
ride in the vamp, in my opinion. My humble,
he
my
he very
humble.
well may. I've been thinking about taking the Vamp and the Dragonfly up to work just to like display, just to show all of the people who collect Funko Pops what real collections look like.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But we'll see. That's also a lot of toting around. Yeah, that's. I'm pretty sure that's all I've got. That's not. Um, that's not cardboard.
Nay,
So
this is good.
yeah. Shout out to Randy, the resident tabletop guy slash cardboard goblin.
Pour one out for your
Yeah.
homie, man. Pour one out for your homie.
old,
I
old brother's going through it.
He's
love it.
in
So yeah,
cardboard
uh,
utopia right now.
seriously, if you can find it, it's good. It's good. So well, there's been 2 episodes without our dear friend Tyler. He's got some stuff to catch up on. So let's do a quick little segment called co-host catch up. I heard a little bit why he was delayed and waylaid and not able to record. So let's go over a few of the topics that we talked about, just to throw in your 2 cents. Just you've had some time to think about it. We'll start off with the '90s episode that we did a while back. Was there anything from the '90s that we covered that you wanted to talk about? There's something that we missed. Feel free to call us out and talk about that now. So, floor is yours.
Yeah, I don't. Gosh, I don't know if there was anything that you missed. I will tell you that I was thinking as the '90s episode kicked off, I was very sad to not be participating and not be part of the conversation. First of all, but there's a little part of me that's like, yeah, I don't know if I have a lot from the '90s that really tickles my pickle, if you will. But then you guys started talking, and I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, there's actually a lot of stuff that I just don't think of as being from the '90s that absolutely is. So, Batman the Animated Series, for example, still one of my all-time favorite TV shows. Absolutely freaking love it. I still watch it today on one or two episodes a month. So great show, great series, iconic theme song. Just it doesn't get any much better than that in terms of TV. So I remember coming home from school, um, and kicking that, I think coming off from high school and kicking that on the TV and just, watching. It was great. I really enjoyed it. The X-Men cartoon. I can't, I apologize. I can't remember if that got mentioned or not during
It
the,
did.
okay. So the X-Men obviously that was my introduction to the X-Men was that cartoon. And so love that show really. To this day, a lot of what I think of X-Men comes from that show. As we've discussed before, I wasn't really a comic book guy growing up, not my choice necessarily, but just didn't have the exposure. So that cartoon was big for me to expose me to something that as I've grown up, I've continued to enjoy and enjoy looking into. So I think Magic, MTG, Magic the Gathering, got brought up in that episode. Big time. Back in the day, Star Wars fans were nerds. Okay. This was before being a nerd was kind of cool, right? This was when it was not cool to be a nerd. And I was a big Star Wars fan, but the super nerds played Magic the Gathering, and I was definitely on that
You
list
fit
of
that
super
bill.
nerds. I did. Yeah. All the way.
And Devil Children.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So we'll talk about that. Yeah. My friends introduced me to Magic. I started playing Magic in right around beta. So very early on in Magic's release. And my friends, I would go to the store with my friends and their parents, and got my first, like back in the day, you would buy the boxes and starter decks, right? So I got my first starter deck, and I'd buy 2 or 3, and I had my little collection. There was probably no more than 150 cards, maximum. And I had built my little decks out of that. And of course, my mom, doing one of her searches of my rooms, which was a pretty routine thing when I was growing up, found those cards. And you'd have thought, I honestly, like legitimately, I probably would have been in better shape if she'd have found marijuana and cocaine than her finding demonic tutor card, back the original demonic tutor where the pentagram was still on the forehead. They've taken that off since then, right? They removed that because it was too demonic. I'm like, you calling a demonic tutor? Just why not just go all the way, guys? Like, what are you chickening out here for? Unholy Strength, same thing. They had a burning pentagram in the background that they've taken out, or that they eventually took out of that card. So I mean, she found those 2 cards and lost her mind. Pour them up in front of me. You'll those of you who played Magic back in the day, those of you who have talked to old folks like us who played Magic back in the day, we didn't use card sleeves. We would sit out on concrete sidewalks and shuffle them by hand and play them and just beat the dog crap out of the cards. Yeah, they were worn out.
Raw.
Yeah. So the cards weren't in great condition, but my mom she tore them up in front of me. That was her thing. She would break CDs in front of me that she didn't, she found a CD that she didn't like or didn't approve of. She'd call me in there and break it in front of me and throw it away. So she tore the cards up in front of me and tore up a couple boxes. And I'm about 99% sure I had 1 Black Lotus, and she tore that up. And one of my friends I was talking to him, it's been a couple of years ago. He's like, "Oh yeah, you had one," and she tore it up. And we were mad back then because back then it was a $30, $40 card, and that's a lot of money in the 90s. But I mean, good Lord. So I have mentioned to her, I don't beat my mom up over this kind of stuff. She's still my mom, but I have mentioned to her that there's like tens of thousands of dollars that she destroyed. In reality, maybe not worth quite that much because they were worn out. I mean, they were scraped up, torn up, beat the hell. They were, maybe grayed out like a 2 or 3. Definitely, highly played / damaged. All those cards from back then. But that was fun. I loved it. Played a lot of Magic. Of course, doing that did not get me out of playing Magic. It just taught me the lesson of don't store your cards at your freaking house. Store them at your friend's house. So that's what I did. My friend held on to my cards, and actually the friend that held on to my cards, when my group of friends who played, almost all of us went to the same college, and this one friend of ours did not go, and we basically gave him all of our cards to hold for us. And I acquired that collection back from him maybe close to 10 years ago. I paid him a sum of money to buy that collection back. And so I've got all of that stuff. Not the originals that got torn up from me are gone. One of my friends, another interesting story, we went to senior prom and we rented a limo, and we were sharing a limo, and everybody had to pay their part. And he paid his part by selling off his muxes for like $50 a piece or something like that. And of course, he looks back on that and thinks, gosh, maybe I should have skipped the prom and skipped the limo, and I'd have been in good shape. But, what do you know? There's guys, my dad had a Mickey Mantle rookie card in his bike spokes. So, you just don't know. So anyway, I digressed a little bit. That's those things definitely touched my heart. Ninja Turtles, I think you guys talked. One thing you did talk about that I wanted to mention was, you talked about some video games. I think you talked about the Ninja Turtles video game specifically,
Yeah.
which was a very challenging game. And I get a little chuckle. And I'm not saying that the Dark Souls and Elden Ring and those games are hard. I've played them. They are hard. They're challenging. But they weren't nearly as hard as some of those old Nintendo games. Like some of those old Nintendo games are just flat out impossible. And I think the term that was coined back in the day was Nintendo hard. And I laughed at all the younger folks these days, that get upset when games are difficult. They're complaining when everything's not handed to them in a game. And because I'm just laughing and going, you guys have no idea. You have no idea. My dad, a Toxic Crusader, which ridiculous, but I think my grandmother gave me that Nintendo game, and that game was really hard. There really weren't a lot of games on Nintendo that weren't really hard. I was trying to think if there's any that were easy. Kung Fu maybe eventually got easy, but gosh, I don't know. They were all pretty hard. Anyway, that's me reminiscing about the 90s. Yeah, good stuff. Great decade. Enjoyed it. I lived all the way through the 90s. I lived almost all the way through the 80s. Missed that by like 1 year. But got to experience all of that. It was good. Neon was a thing. I remember like the 90s, early 2000s is when the 80s were suddenly not cool. I remember thinking how uncool the 80s were. And of course now we're all looking back on, gosh, the 80s, they were great. And I think we're probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 years away from looking back on the 90s and saying, the 90s, they were great.
Oh man, well, we're here. I'm in those specific trenches.
Are you ripping the neon? Are you rocking the neon? You got to get.
Yeah, look at the G2 sideswipe over here.
Okay, all right. Well, that's true. You are Generation 2, Joe. So you're right. I agree with you. You're there.
I never veer too far away from the 90s with my musical taste. Like
he really doesn't.
Kind of there.
I'm still in the 80s.
Firmly planted in Seattle. And just
that's
thereabouts.
It's a grunge thing, as they say. I'm still firmly in the loving the 80s era. I will say I had to wear a lot of neon socks and stuff. And my first fight after my parents got divorced, we talked about all this stuff, but moved up to Edmond. My first fight in middle school was because my mom was making me wear neon socks. I had these bright neon yellow socks, and somebody was just giving me hell about it. And after a couple of days of it, I got freaking tired of it. And anyway, what a stupid thing to get in a fight over, but whatever. 90s.
Yeah. He should feel bad because you were fashionable because like you said, neon was in.
I was very fashionable. We had very little growing up, but my grandparents owned a clothing store in a small town. So we at least had access to not designer stuff by any stretch of the imagination, but stuff that was on trend.
Good stuff.
Right.
Stuff.
Like I never had Reebok pumps growing up, but I had the knockoff Reebok pumps. But anyway. So 90s were cool. Loved them. Batman the Animated Series, Ninja Turtles, the game, the cartoon, Nintendo, Magic the Gathering. Like 90s were great. 90s were great. Yeah. Good stuff.
All right. So keeping it kind of in the 90s, speaking of 90s, we also talked about some X-Men.
Yeah.
Specifically assembling a squad to go take care of Magneto and Asteroid M. Do you have a squad prepared of mutants, of X-Men, past, present, or otherwise, that you would assign to go handle that situation?
I do. I built a team for this, and I'm curious to get you guys' feedback on this. I do not claim by any stretch of the imagination to be an X-Men expert. My knowledge of the X-Men was an introduction by the 90s cartoon that we just talked about. And as I've grown into adulthood, I've been able to consume some of the comics and some of the other media around the X-Men. Of course, I've watched the movies, which I think are actually not a great source of X-Men lore and information. But I have been able to absorb some more of that. So I'm curious to get your feedback on this team I've put together. So let me kick it off with the leader, the guy who's calling the shots for me, the HMFIC, if you will, and that's going to be Beast. I'm sending Beast. I want Beast because, one of the things, Magneto's incredibly powerful, very powerful mutant, but he's also incredibly smart. He's a very intelligent villain, and it's one of the things that makes him and the X-Men such a compelling universe is that they do have good, compelling villains. He's not just really powerful and stupid. He's actually very intelligent. So I need somebody that's smarter than him going into this to call the shots, somebody who's not going to get hopefully overly emotional, who's going to go handle things the way they need to be handled. And I'd like to think he's going to be willing to sacrifice somebody if necessary to get the job done. And I think if you're realistic about taking Asteroid M, that's a very real possibility. So, Beast is calling the shots. He's my leader. Number 2, second in command, I'm taking Emma Frost.
Interesting.
Couple reasons I want Emma. First of all, she's a psychic. She's got tremendously powerful psychic abilities. When you're taking on Asteroid M, you have to have considerations outside of just Magneto. It's not just Magneto. It's Magneto and a bunch of his cronies that are going to be there, and they're going to have people that can deal with the ads, if you will, the underbosses. And having a powerful psyker can pretty much nullify a large percentage of those people instantly, and make that a lot easier task. The other thing I like about Emma, when she has her diamond form, she's darn near invincible. So she's not just bringing the psyker, she's also bringing tremendous strength. She's very durable. So she's going to have really good staying power. So that's something that I need on this team, at least in my opinion, that I feel that I need. So I'm bringing her. Third on my team, I am going to take Warpath. I like Warpath. Again, tremendous martial fighter, well-known, strength, endurance, very, very powerful mutant. But also, and I'm tapping on, I know that we don't like the movies, but I'm tapping a little bit on the Days of Future Past movie where they show Warpath and he's actually seeing the future. Now, not way far in the future, but enough time in the future to be able to help people out, make decisions, adapt to what's happening around him. And I think when you have that power combined with Beast's intelligence and Emma's telepathy, her telepathic abilities, I think you got a really powerful trifecta there that can really help you deal with just about anything that Magneto's going to think of to throw at you. It's a heck of a lot easier to deal with surprises and ambushes if you get to see them, even if it's just seconds, but see them before they happen. I'm going to go with call it maybe a bit of a deeper cut, but sticking with the for number 4, the Summers family of folks. I know there was some Havoc coming in there, and did you take Cyclops?
No, Mike did.
Mike took Cyclops. Okay. All right. So I knew somebody took him, and then somebody else took Havoc. Was that you, or was that? That
was Randy.
That was you, Randy. Okay.
No.
Okay. Sticking with the Summers family, give me Vulcan.
Yes. I'm low-key shocked that Randy didn't take Vulcan, because I know he was super into, his background was the rise and fall of the Shi'ar Empire.
Yep.
That was so, and I'm sure the reason that he did that, other than taking Polaris, was that he was saving Vulcan for later.
That would make sense. I'm bringing him an Asteroid M. Lots of great reasons why Vulcan's good. One thing that maybe you guys can answer this for me, because I did a little bit as I was doing research for this, and admittedly I didn't get to do a lot of extensive research, but I did what I could. One of Vulcan's powers is the ability to nullify other mutant powers, but apparently it's debatable whether or not he can do that with any mutant power, or if it's only the energy powers that he's able to nullify. Either way, I think that's hugely powerful in this situation. If it doesn't limit itself to energy powers, having somebody who can help nullify Magneto, that'd be tremendously valuable. Even if you just weaken him a little bit, that would be tremendously valuable. So that's 4. Number 5, my assassin, the one who is going to take out Magneto, is Psylocke.
We had that pick in common.
I'm bringing Psylocke. She's the one who's going to, my plan in my brain, the way this works out, she's the one delivering the killing blow. She's going to take him out. There's a number of reasons we can talk about, but the reality is she has her psychic blades, which he can't manipulate. You'll notice that I didn't bring anybody that relies heavily on traditional weapons, arms, blades, nothing that Magneto can easily deal with. Like, he just, you can't.
Except for Warpath. Didn't Warpath use like trench knives?
Well, he can, but he doesn't have to.
It's not like he's bringing Wolverine.
I'm
Yeah.
not bringing. I mean, I don't. Yeah, I'm not bringing Wolverine. Now, Psylocke can. She has a sword too. I think sometimes that she can use, but she
Yeah.
doesn't have to. She has blades that she can create out of her psychic energy. And so, this team is kind of built around, hey, Magneto is super strong and powerful, and he can definitely defend himself, but he's not going to be able to use any of the stuff that we bring with us against us. So, that was one of the primary filters for me in deciding who comes and who stays, and that's looking for people who are going to have ways to interact with Magneto and his cronies that don't involve metal that Magneto can easily deal with. So that's my team. That's who I built.
Well, I think I like that team a lot.
So do I. I'm just curious, from a writing perspective, what would your comic run be like? What would be some things that
What's
you
the
would
arc?
explore?
We need to look at Vulcan. Vulcan has been a hero and a villain. Right? He's played both sides of that. I think that both sides would be very much at play. I think that Vulcan would, the concern there, on behalf of his team, I think they would feel like they need him, but the concern there would be is he is likely to join him as he is to help us take him out? I don't know. So I think that you've got a little bit of that going on. I don't know. I actually don't know the Emma Frost relationship with Magneto. I don't know if they ever aligned. It wouldn't surprise me if they did, because she's also been kind of a villain and a hero in that universe.
Well,
so
I think she was mostly doing Hellfire Club stuff,
Okay,
and he
right.
was
Yeah.
kind of doing his own thing.
And she was busy being better than Jean Grey.
yeah. So I don't know if I have a great answer for that question. I hadn't really thought about it, but I think that you're going to lose. I think Vulcan's going to sacrifice himself. It's the way I see it. Vulcan's going to sacrifice himself to give Psylocke the opportunity
Yeah.
to deal the blow to Magneto. And it's going to be, that opportunity is going to be opened up with Warpath's knowledge. And I don't know. I don't know where else I would explore in that other than get in there. And I will tell you this, Magneto dies in my comic. He's not injured. He's not captured. He's not subdued.
He doesn't get his brain shut down, and then the darkest parts of his psyche merged with Professor X's darker parts of his psyche, creating an entirely different entity.
No,
Yeah.
he gets.
I like deep cuts, man, because with a character like Vulcan, you could really, give him layers and textures and shades.
Yeah.
And that would be great. His arc would be, eventually dying. So, you could do like the Batman the animated series, make him a sympathetic villain, but then, he goes and does what he does. That's good stuff, man, because I'm not gonna lie, I had no idea when you said who Vulcan was, man. I have no idea who he is. So that's really cool. You got one by me.
Hey, snuck one in there every now and then.
You did.
Well, like you've adamantly and repeatedly said, you're not a Summers guy, so that's
true.
That's not surprising. So while I was editing the previous episode, I was like, oh man, Forge has a metal leg. And that would be a lot of fun, because I also picked Jean on my team just so that I could, Phoenix shenanigans in space. That seems like a no-brainer. But what I would have happen is Magneto would inevitably get a hold of Forge, rip his leg off, and something's happening. He's trying to get back to the X-Jet or the Blackbird or whatever they're calling it now. And he can't quite get there, but then all of a sudden you see just like flames outside, and like a fire leg replacement grows out, and Jean uses the Phoenix to grow Forge a leg of fire so that that can support his weight so that he can run and make to the jet.
Or
And
Forge is
I thought that,
hey, I'm going against the guy with magnetism. Let me just make this leg real quick out of something else besides
I'm just going to fashion like a plastic leg. Or he's like, hey, Emma, can you like diamond up and then cut like break me off a piece of some diamond?
Bling this thing out. Let's go. Come on.
I'm sure you can come up with something.
As a guy who used to doodle and draw in school a lot, I thought the visual of Forge running down a hallway with like a fire leg while the Phoenix Force is just like enveloping this asteroid would be a really
Yeah.
cool visual.
I agree.
Yeah.
Because
Let your
I mean,
artists have fun with it.
yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, writers are very important in comic books, but at the end of the day, it is a visual
Yeah.
medium.
Oh, yeah.
So
It'd be like a really cool splash page for your last issue,
yeah,
or the last issue in the arc.
but yeah. All right, well, that's gonna do it. I feel like our co-host has sufficiently caught up,
Mm-hmm.
and we are ready to now stop looking at the past and look towards the future. And the future for us gentlemen, for this group of Okies, lies in Dallas when we go to the Dallas-Fort Worth G.I. Joe convention. So we've been doing this trip. I think this is the second year for all of us, and the third year for Mike and I. Am I wrong?
You're correct.
Second year for us, for sure.
It's nice little quick trip. It's not too far, and there's so much going on. It's mostly like a vendor show, but this year they've got some pretty top tier guests as far as the history of the GI Joe franchise. We're just going to be going the one day on Saturday, and let's just kind of go around. Let's just go around and just kind of talk about our expectations, what we're looking forward to. I'll start us off. I'm just looking forward to getting out of town, getting in the car, driving around,
Hanging with the boys. That's on my list.
hanging, just shooting the breeze, man. The breeze got it coming.
I can only imagine Tyler on that, man, because you've been through house hunting purgatory, dude.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Also, there might be a reunification. Not a reunification, a unification between you and your flag. So
Yeah, it's time for me to.
and the
think
other
it's
action
time.
figures that are in the guest room.
Yeah, time for her to come to her home port, I think. Yeah, but shout out to you for hanging on to that for me for a little while. It would have been one more
Yeah.
thing to deal with on the move. So very helpful. I greatly appreciate that.
No problem.
Oh man, just the thought of it getting flooded hurts my heart.
Yeah, it's unfortunately it's all ongoing there. The repairs are made, the house is sold, the buyers are happy with the new floors that we installed, but of course we had to pay out of pocket to do all of that. And unfortunately, the gentleman who caused this, despite the mountain of evidence and experts that we've had come in and be like, yeah, this is how you caused it. This is how you caused it. He's refusing to take responsibility. So unfortunately, we've had to engage an attorney and not something I ever wanted to do is actually go sue somebody. But unfortunately, it looks like it's going to go that route. So, this will be a headache for a while.
So even more reason to hang with the boys.
Yeah,
Right.
even more. Yeah, I'm still
Just
feeling it.
There's nothing like irresponsibly spending money on action figures to take your mind off of legal woes.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
But toy hunting is one of those things where if you go in blind without a game plan, you're probably going to have a great time in that moment, but long term, maybe not so much. So,
Especially with Dallas Vintage, you got to have your list going in there before.
the
It'll be
Dallas
so much
Vintage is the
easier.
wild card. Dallas Vintage is the wild card. So let's kind of go around. Let's talk about shopping lists. Do you guys have anything?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you like to talk about this for the audience members who are listening to the show?
Yeah, I'd love to. Who wants to go first? Mike, you want to go? You want me to go?
Go ahead, Tyler, because I
Okay.
imagine your list is a lot longer than mine.
It's a long list. I won't go through the whole list top to bottom. I'll stick with probably like a top 5 and maybe a couple honorable mentions kind of thing. But yeah, so I mean, number one, something I've been looking for, I'd say casually, not super seriously, but something that I really want in my collection, Sky Raven, the Sky Patrol G.I. Joe Night Raven, that chrome, beautiful plane. Night Raven is one of the
Pretty bird.
best. Yeah, Night Raven is one of the best G.I. Joe vehicles ever created, and the Sky Raven is a super cool variant of the original, and something that I really would like to acquire. Honestly, if I found one, it was a good deal, I would jump on it because I do want it. I'd be happy just to see one. even if it's outrageously priced and I couldn't afford it, I'd love to just see one in the wild. Just to lay eyes on it, if not hands on it, just to do that. But obviously, I am in the market. I'd love to snag one if it's reasonably priced. Number two for me in the same subgroup of GI Joe vehicles, there's a Sky Patrol Sky Striker. So that chrome Sky Striker that got released. It was a con. I think it was San Diego Comic Con, and I want to say 2017, 2018. Maybe it's more recent than that. I honestly don't know for sure. But it's a fairly recent release within the last decade. Let's put it that way. And it's still reasonably priced. So if I could find one there, unless somebody's just being ridiculous with what they're asking for it, that's certainly within the realm of very possible. And I sure do think it'd look good sitting on a flag. Maybe not super realistic to have bright chrome aircraft, but hey, in the 60s, that was a thing. We had really wasn't polished aluminum really, but we had a lot of aluminum aircraft, so it's not that far out there. But anyway, I'd love to see one of those, pick it up. Number three for me, apologize in advance, Mike, if I've already yoinked one or two of ones that are on your list as well, but this one's a Tiger Hawk.
So far, you're 3 out of 3, bud.
I figured we'd be pretty aligned on that. I'd love to get a Tiger Hawk, man. The Tiger Force Tomahawk, super cool. I will tell you right now, 100%. Mike, you are a bigger Tomahawk fan than I am. So if we found one that was a reasonable deal, 100% yours to take. Another vehicle that I would really like to see, even if I can't afford it, or wouldn't be willing to spend the money on it. I would love to see it in the wild. I've never seen one in person. I'd love to see that. That's another con exclusive. Some of this stuff, we maybe talk about this in another episode. It's neat that they make these con exclusives. It's really frustrating for those of us who have adult stuff going on and can't travel across the country to a con to pick up a special vehicle. I'd love for them to open up some access to that. I realize they're trying to do a special thing for the con. I get it, but it is a little bit frustrating that some of us don't have access to that stuff because we can't do those things. But talk about that another time. Last thing for me that I'm looking for, and this was a recent addition to my list of things I've just finally decided, I'm gonna need to get one, and that is gonna be the Classified Series His Tank. I feel like I could be wrong. Definitely missed the boat on the HasLab backing. Definitely missed the boat on the escalating price on eBay. But I do feel like at this point we've kind of plateaued. So it is what it's going to be. If you're going to get one, this is what you're going to pay for it for the next couple of years. I've made my peace for a reasonable price with picking that up to almost complete my HasLab vehicle collection. I think it's like the Baroness, that one-off motorcycle they had for the Baroness. I don't have that. The Cobra glider, whatever that's called. I don't know. There's a couple I don't have, but the big stuff, all the other stuff I have. Got out of his tank. So those are my top 5. Honorable mention, something again, even if I saw it and if it was priced right, because the right price is so high, I still wouldn't buy it, but I would love to see it in the wild. The Night Boomer, the Night Force Sky Striker. Did I get another one? My Jack, another one from
dude.
We're gonna need to start having Mike. We're gonna have to start having Mike go.
Yeah. We should let Mike go first. And there's a couple figs I'd like to pick up that I don't have. So it occurred to me the other day that I don't have the Refrigerator Perry mail-in fig.
There you go.
And I'd really like to get one of those. Love that dude. And I really would like to have his G.I. Joe. So sorry, Mike, I apologize.
You're good, man.
Alternated or something. But anyway, those are the top things I'm looking for. There's definitely other stuff on my list. Mauler, I'd love to pick up an original Stinger, Tiger Cat to work more on my Tiger Force collection. But anyway, those are the main things that I would love to see and snag.
So
is there anything that he didn't take from you that you could share?
He did mention, technically no, because he mentioned his Tiger Force collection. So I'm still looking for that Tiger Force Lifeline. I've been delaying that for as long as I'm going to.
Classified series or OG? Sorry.
OG.
Okay.
I will leave Dallas area with a Tiger Force Lifeline. if that means we've been to Dallas Vintage and the con, I will order it on eBay on the way home. like before we leave the Dallas area, I will at least have one on the way, hopefully.
Fair enough.
So that will get, but I'm a little more on the side of I just want to see it in the wild. Like I might have a picture taken next to, like the Night Boomer and anything Sky Patrol and that Tiger Force con exclusive Tomahawk. You got a flag, man, and I think I'd pass on it as long as you put it on your flag. I think so.
If I got it, it would go on the flag. I'll be honest with you. I don't think anybody's going to sell that for a price that I would pay for it. As much as I love it, as cool as I think it is, I don't think anybody's going to put a price on that I would. There's just a certain line that I have. I mean, the flag was, I'm very glad to have it, but that was an exorbitant expense on it's like a lifetime thing I've been after for a long, long time. And to even come in that realm of spending that order of magnitude of money, it's got to be something that I've wanted for more than, I've known about that for probably a year. I think we probably discovered that, if memory serves, Mike, you mentioned that to me driving home from the last JoeCon. So I think it's actually been like a year that I've even known it existed.
Yeah.
So
anyway, I was eBaying stuff on the way home like a winner.
Yeah. Yeah, I was transforming stuff because, you guys got me back into Transformers 1 year ago at JoeCon. So, shortly after you drug me into classified. So, my wife has a bone to pick with both of you, but, that's all right.
It's
all
well
good,
earned.
man. It's
Well
all
earned
good.
and deserved. How is it all me?
Been all good times.
I don't know. I'm innocent.
I will take due account, or I'm not going to say guilt, but responsibility for the Transformers, for getting you back into Transformers. That being said, I would like to take this time to apologize to absolutely nobody. So
it's been good, man. I've enjoyed it. It's been really good. I'm missing having my Optimus on my desk here to look at and hear his voice of encouragement in my brain when I'm feeling bummed. But speaking of the con, if I could, I believe it's at a new venue this year, so I'm excited to be at a new venue that I think is larger. Because last year, I remember walking into that and thinking, "This is it. This is."
it was a little cramped.
There's not a lot here. But the reality is there was a whole lot there. It was just crammed into a tiny space. And then they had a bunch of other rooms that came off of the main area. And I mean, it was like a maze getting through all of that. And so I'm excited. Hopefully they have a slightly better layout with a bigger overall space where we're not quite as jammed in there. And then, apparently it's a venue and it's going to be bigger. So I'm excited for that. Shout out to Dallas Vintage. I did show up with the JoeCon with a list last year. I found 0 of the things that were on my list, except for a flag, which gentleman was asking too much money for. I mean, and not by a little bit. Like, he was asking way too much money. But other than that, I didn't find anything at the con that was on my list. I did, however, on our subsequent, after we left the con, we went and ate some barbecue, and then went to Dallas Vintage, and I found almost everything that was on my list at Dallas Vintage. So shout out to those guys, because they got me. And, we'll see what they got this year. They might do it again.
We can only hope.
Joe, what's on your list, brother?
So my list is, with Hasbro Pulse and like Amazon sending me all of my, sending me pre-orders of stuff. I don't really have anything. Like the last thing I remember buying at JoeCon was that 25th anniversary Tiger Force Outback, and I feel like that's probably it for me. There's a couple things, like if I see a 25th anniversary mint in box, like Bazooka or Gung Ho, like I might, if the price is right. But honestly, the thing I'm looking forward to the most is watching you hopefully stammer and fumble over your words talking to Greg Berger, Mike.
I'm not you with Kevin Conroy, buddy.
You say that, but I mean, who's to say?
I had that on my list also, like Spirit, Grimlock, Firefly, Skyfire, like crap. You know,
Yeah,
it's
he's
more
a
like,
heavy
when
hitter,
am I
but
going to get signed?
I and also but the one I'm excited for as well, and that I'm actually going to get some stuff signed is Keone Young, who was the voice of Storm Shadow, and was it
Chen
Chen
Storm
Storm
Stout.
Stout? Because I've got that card, that trading card of Chen that
Oh,
you gave me
okay.
from the. So I'm gonna have him sign that, and I think I'm gonna have him sign. I'm gonna see if I can get him and Ron Rudat to sign my 25th anniversary Storm Shadow.
Nice.
So then I think I'll just be missing Larry Hama, and then I'd have the trifecta.
There you go.
So, but that's what I'm looking forward to. And also just seeing like all the fun cosplays and just being around like-minded individuals who are just super stoked to just hang out and just celebrate GI Joe. Except for the turds who are there just to try to make as much money as they possibly can by like ripping people off.
Yeah,
Like
scalpers can get kick
absolutely
rocks.
wrecked. They can
Get
get
wrecked. There you
wrecked.
go.
They can get wrecked and twice on Sunday.
You know, we should do an episode about this at some point in time. But I am excited about. There's a company called Gridiron Studios that's
Yes,
making some really great accessories for existing classified vehicles and figures. And they've also got an
I
APC. Have you seen that Jungle Phalanx they have? That
I
APC.
haven't.
I am
No,
sincerely hoping they are there and bring one of those. It's a
I bought a few like weapons from them, and I was very pleased with them.
They're I'm hoping they're there. And then I think it's I'm gonna lie to you. You're gonna make me a liar. There's another company that we saw there last year that had some Action Force, right? The Valverse stuff.
Yeah,
They have some classified scale, 12 scale vehicles. They're really cool. They have I think Vanguard is what Vanguard is the vehicle that they're calling it. So I'm hoping they're going to be there with some of their stuff and maybe actually have some stock because I would certainly consider some of that stuff. I'm looking pretty hard now at making some modifications, doing some modifications to my Vamp based on some of the stuff I've seen on Gridiron. They've got some really great. No disrespect to the Vamp, great vehicle, super awesome. Biggest flaw in that vehicle is the guns mounted on the rear are true to the original ish, but the way they did the ammo cans with the ammunition chains coming up, it's like they got to the 2 yard line and fumbled the ball, and it's like, man,
they fall out really easily. Like you
yeah,
look at them and they just
it,
kind of.
and,
Bleh.
and Gridiron has a gun that would replace that. It looks like a 30 millimeter cannon almost that would replace that on the back. It doesn't have that shenanigans, and to me, it's like, you know what, I might do that to avoid the thinking ammo cans and belts of ammunition flinging all over the place on that gun. But anyway, I digress. Those are some other things I'd love to see there.
Oh well, that's JoeCon, but like we've talked about, that's not the only place we're gonna hit up. What are you guys thinking for lunch? Where like are you gonna get brisket? We getting because I think I might get turkey,
Well, I think
but
we should avoid the heart of Dallas.
we are the so I don't know if you guys saw, and I might post a little infographic, but the barbecue place that I picked is smack dab between the the convention and Dallas Vintage,
That's
and
awful convenient.
we do not have to drive into the heart of downtown Dallas, which that was my number one primary objective, and I
I'm pretty even
we pulled
kill,
it off.
but like, I was a passenger princess and I wasn't doing well.
You yeah,
That and I'll tell you, I really struggled. You guys probably know this about me. I don't do well I get very in crowded environments. I don't want to be in a crowd because I can't watch everybody, and I want to know everything that's going on around me. And in like Terry Black's barbecues where we went, by the way, shout out to him. The food was delicious, but it was
Really
absolutely
good.
delicious.
I mean, it was crammed full of people, and
So
it was
busy.
Yeah.
and it's like I can't in those places. I can't. I have a hard time enjoying my food because I'm too busy trying to keep an eye on what's going
Yeah.
on all around me, and I just, you know, I don't want to do that. So Yeah.
It's very hard to do that whenever you also have a T-Rex rib on your tray.
Yeah. I think we talked about that too. Yeah, where I thought I
Yeah.
was paying a certain price and realized that no, I'm paying that price per pound, and it was like
Yep.
5 pounds or something ridiculous.
It
More than
was
5 pounds, but it was like 3 pounds or something. But
it was up there though. It was up there.
it was big, and it was delicious. I ate on that for like 2 meals after our lunch. And so it was wonderful. I enjoyed the crap out of it. My dog worked on that bone for, probably a month, as he finally wore it down. But yeah, the traffic, the parking was a huge nightmare.
Ugh.
The place itself was way too crowded. So yeah, I'm all for not going to Central Dallas, getting, and something that's on the way, all the better. So yeah.
Yeah.
And
We will be hitting up In-N-Out though. Like that's
Yes.
on the way back. Yeah.
that's gonna happen.
I don't
great.
eat burgers a lot, so when I have a burger, it's like so good. And In-N-Out, man, they're so consistent, and the hype is real.
Well, it's just and also the novelty because we're Okies. We don't like we
don't have
have Whataburgers. Like don't.
Yep.
But why would I go to Whataburger when we have Brahms at like every other street corner?
Yep.
So, but we don't have an In-N-Out. So that's I'm looking forward to that too. And also the ace in the hole, the secret weapon, Dallas Vintage. What are we hoping to look for? I'm just excited to look at the loose Transformers rack because you can find a lot of really cool stuff. Like the last time I went, whenever we were picking up your flag, I think I probably mentioned this, but my family found Transformers for them, like my 2 boys and my wife. She found one that she wanted, and I was like, I am absolutely going to get you this because you're being a total trooper.
Yeah.
Just don't look at this receipt. Don't look at this. Don't look at this receipt that I'm holding for Tyler.
Yeah.
Because
don't. That's classified information not to be shared.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's actually both of you guys have contributed, been essential, I would argue, in my acquisition of a flag. Joe, you went down there and actually
Burt Reynolds did.
You did the bandit run for me to go get it and bring it back. And Mike, you've been a massive help in storing the thing for, probably 6 months at least, right? It's around Christmas time. So yeah, about 6 months.
Yeah, it's December.
So you guys have contributed mightily to my acquisition of a lifelong desire, something I've wanted for forever. So appreciate you both for that. And really, honestly, guys, I'm looking forward to the car ride down, the car ride back as much as anything else. Just shooting the bull with you dudes and, talking about this kind of stuff the whole way.
It'll be kind of a catch up.
Yeah.
Because it's like we've still chatted in Discord and whatnot, but it's like we haven't had a chance to hang.
Yeah, it's been a little while for sure.
Somebody's been adulting pretty hard.
Yeah.
Guys, moving sucks. Mike, you just did it. I know you know. It sucks. And
I have a lot less stuff, and I keep kind of my fingerprint, like my packing fingerprint, kind of small. That's probably residual military. Always be ready to move, but.
Well, this experience
sucked.
Yeah, this experience has made an impression on me. Or I've had several serious conversations with my wife about, we've moved stuff over from our house over here, and we still have 3 pods worth of stuff to bring over and unload and unpack. And I've told her, like, out of those 3 pods, like 50% of 1 pod is what we're going to keep, and the rest of it's going away. It's either going to be sold in a garage sale, sold on marketplace, donated, or just thrown in the freaking trash. We are
left on the curb.
We are trimming down significantly.
That's exactly what I did in my move. In my garage, I threw so much stuff away. It was probably like $1,700 worth, or $1,700 I spent for like one of those services that comes in, loads it up, and then hauls it off.
Yep.
And it was expensive, but you know what? It was worth it.
Yep.
I don't regret trimming down at all.
It's got to happen.
You're like, oh no, what am I going to do with all this time that I'm not recovering from the disc that I didn't slip? You
Yep.
know?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So we got a lot of work to do still ahead of us. But anyway, anybody's looking for a queen size bed or a kid's bed, hit me up. I have those to get rid of. So
Nah, man, I'm good.
I got two things that I'm looking forward to. The first is kind of the unknown, like the things that we didn't expect we're gonna see. We see, like this action figure. We know quite a bit about GI Joe and Transformers and all this stuff, but we don't remember everything. Like Tyler got me earlier with Vulcan, so it was like there's some things we don't know. So it's like, am I gonna get reconnected with a figure that I haven't seen and I didn't know the name of, and now it's like, oh man, I didn't remember this, or I didn't even know it in the first place. That's what I'm excited about.
Yeah.
And also, to be honest, it's gonna be a day off of raid for me. So I've been living that Warcraft healer life, and we raid on Friday and Saturday nights, and my attendance has been stellar. So it'll be nice to take a night off and not think about everyone's health bars and tanks that pull too much trash.
Screaming at the
I know.
screaming at the hunter who hasn't dismissed his pet because they're in the raid and then
Yeah.
won't get out of the fire.
The constant calls for resetting the boss, and then someone pulls early, then you gotta have another reset. So it'll be nice to just take a break. Woosah.
When those recreational times become almost like work. I
Yeah.
remember we were living through. I will say, speaking of tanks and trash, I was thinking the other day how much I enjoyed. I don't know what was that, like 6 months ago when we were rolling new tanks, and I leveled like every tank from basically
Yep.
level 10 all the way to. That was really fun. I
Yeah.
have not had that much fun in World of Warcraft probably since vanilla, or at least since Burning Crusade.
Well,
Or maybe let's, but
well, I mean, if you have time, come on back. Not to sound like Anakin Skywalker, but my powers have doubled since then. So, you know.
I really enjoyed that. I don't know. I think I could do that a lot. I could do a lot of that. So maybe here in a little while, once we get unpacked and I actually have free time in the evenings where I don't feel guilty about not unpacking or organizing something, I'll get that going again. But that was a lot.
There
of
you
fun.
go.
So
What
my
else?
question is, I remember you saying, I think one of the last few times that we actually hung out in Meat Space, where you said that you and your wife had talked it over, and that this wasn't going to be, you guys weren't planning on this being your forever home, and that you were still going to, move eventually. After everything that has transpired, you're getting everything settled, you're downsizing, like you're planning on downsizing, you're getting everything settled, you're in the new place. Is that still your mindset, or have you changed your mind and are now saying, we're done? This is it.
That's a really good question. I'll be honest with you. For me personally, my wife, it hasn't changed at all. Like for sure, she wants to build her custom home to exactly her specifications, and she wants to do that. For me, now that I've made the move, and honestly, this house, the house we selected, it's probably more than our listeners need to hear, but the house we selected, we chose it, or I chose it at least as much. I agreed to it because this puts my daughter in a area with other young kids. Actually, her cousins, almost all her cousins live in this neighborhood, and I never would have thought I'd move into a neighborhood because I'm not a neighborhood guy, but they all live here. It's already paid tremendous dividends. She gets to hang out with them often. She's an only child. She doesn't have siblings, and so her being able to play with other kids is something she has desperately been lacking where we were living before. And seeing that has made this well worth it for me. The more I have lived here, the more I love this house. So I'm actually really happy here. So I could, say, yeah, I'm good. Like we've done a few things. Like the first thing we did before we moved in was rip out all the carpet, install hardwood flooring. We've made some good upgrades. There's definitely some more things that the house needs, but if all of that was done, I could stay here and be happy, I think. Not sure my wife's on that page, but originally the plan was, hey, we'll be here for 5 years and then we'll go build our house. I think now that's probably more like maybe we'll be here until our daughter
Graduates high school or something.
graduates high school. Exactly. Like, so maybe a little bit longer than 5 years. And by that, I mean, a fair bit longer than 5 years. But yeah, so I don't think we're going to move anytime soon. I am convinced and I am determined to make sure that when we move again, if we move again, it is not the ordeal that it was here, because we just had way, way, way too much stuff. And the reality is, our old house, I love that old house. It was I could have lived there and I would have been happy. It was a great house. But I have to admit, when we packed up the 3 pods worth of stuff and kind of cut the house down to just the stuff we need to live day to day, it was a lot nicer. It was more open. There was more space. It was more relaxing. Like, man, you didn't realize how much of an effect that has on
Yeah.
you until you get it to that stage. So now that I've seen that and now that it's fresh in my mind, I'm determined to say, hey, we're going to keep it there. We're going to keep this house, not necessarily bare minimum, but we're not going to have stuff on every wall, furniture in every corner. Like, we're not doing that. We're going to keep it as minimal as we can to be comfortable.
That's what I do.
Very fair.
The most stuff I have in a room is my office, and that's just because I've got figures all over the walls.
Well, that's a museum.
Yeah. So
That's a museum.
other than that, man.
Well, no, as my boys say, it's Uncle Mike's action figure library.
Yeah, that's a good way. That's a good description.
I don't know. When I moved, I thought this might be my forever home. Now I'm here, and I'm like, I don't know, man.
Are you trying to move again?
No, I'm leaving the door open. I don't want to say an absolute. Like, I'll never move again. I'll leave the door open.
There you go.
I really like the location. My yard is the thing that's bothering me the most, to be honest, just because it doesn't drain. So it's been like a lake for the past week, and then it grows, but then it's too wet. So I'm like, I can't wait anymore. So today I got out and my lawnmower was sinking as I was mowing. And mind you, It hasn't rained for a couple of days. And before that, it didn't rain for like a week. So it was it's too much, man. Too much.
For any of you that are listening that are not in Oklahoma or watching that are not in Oklahoma, Oklahoma is the wettest place in the country and has been for like the last couple months. And that never happens. I don't think that's happened in my lifetime.
Yeah.
That does not happen.
Not this time of year.
We're getting a year's worth of rainfall in like 3 to 4 weeks. And it's happening. It's been happening for like 2 months. It's insane.
But it's like, I don't mind yard work. It's just when there's like complications. I like space, and I don't like a bunch of shrubbery, and I don't like
koi ponds.
All this. So it's like, I don't like koi ponds. If it doesn't produce fruit, I don't want anything to do with it. Get it out of my face. I'd rather just have space.
There you
go.
Okay.
Well, you got a good girl though who likes to hunt rabbits and run. So she needs. Yeah. She's a space explorer, and she needs space.
She thinks it's her duty. She started just chasing the rabbits, then like getting one and kind of fiddling with it. And it's like, then she thinks I'm playing chase with her. And now it's just like, she tracks it down, kills it, eats it, and then looks at me like, bro, I offered you some before. I'm not offering you again.
Now she's stealing your phone and looking up rabbit stew recipes, rabbit and dumplings.
And I dropped It was about a $600 vet bill one time because she got really ill from eating one. Apparently, there's some kind of like liver thing that older wild rabbits get that you can't eat them.
Oh,
She got like crazy sick for like 3 days.
Damn,
And
that's terrifying.
so the last one she got was, my house has a back porch, and it was just a solid lake because there's a lot of shrubbery and then like a concrete slab. And so this thing was like essentially a lake. And the rabbit is running to it thinking it's not that deep. I'll just be able to skid across it. Well, the rabbit like jumped in it and it just bottomed out. Like it didn't go anywhere. And my dog just got it.
out.
And I was like, I'm not getting this rabbit because the last time she got sick, I was really tired because I chased her around. And I was like, if I'm going to have a $600 vet bill, I'm not going to be tired. I got stuff to do today. So if I'm going to take her and get her to the vet, I don't want to be tired because, man, I chased that poor dog all over the yard and she thought it was the funnest thing ever. So
You're living her best life.
good job me training the dog, right? And now she thinks it's a big game and it's a reward. But yeah, I would be open to moving again, but not anytime soon. And honestly, it'd probably be downsized, to be honest. I like having 3 bedrooms. But if I could find like 2 bedrooms and an office, I'd be okay with that.
I will tell you, one of the huge contributing factors to my happiness in this house is having my own office that's actually an office.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is so good.
So
I'm not leaving my house. Like
dude,
this is it.
Your
I'm
house
done.
is a good home, man.
I'm not going anywhere. I'm not leaving.
All right, hey, listen, I like that. I love that for you because that's just that much less stress in your life, and I love that. It makes me happy. Yeah. So.
Well, I'm not leaving my house, but I think it's time for us to leave.
Yes.
You, the audience member. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up. So, quick announcements. Obviously, the big one, JoeCon this weekend. We're going to be out there Saturday, but I think it's running Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If you see us and recognize us, bless your heart. But come say hi.
Thank you.
But yeah, so on that note, and also if you just so happen to run into us at Dallas Vintage or at the barbecue place or In-N-Out, say hey.
Yeah.
But do you guys have anything?
We're gonna bring a camera. You gonna have that camera for out of JoeCon? Okay.
Yeah, I'll
We'll
try
have some
and
JoeCon footage.
yeah. And
We all have cell phones.
That's true.
Little Diablo BlizzCon callback.
But yeah, and also I feel like I sound like George R. R. Martin talking about the Winds of Winter. Like, guys, like action figure video, more action figure video unboxings are coming. Just
I've got 2 myself, and I'm Mint in Box Mike, so
yeah,
I've got 2 coming.
They are coming. You can, like, if you want to start running bets, you will get a new action figure video from us before George R. R. Martin finishes and publishes Winds of Winter.
Guaranteed.
That is guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
So, well, Tyler, you're back. Is there anything you'd like to say?
But glad to be back. Missed you guys. Huge shout out to Randy for stepping in and picking up my slack. Can't thank that guy enough. Great dude. Great addition to the channel.
Yeah.
Wonderful commentary. You guys had some great episodes. I've enjoyed the 2 that I missed. It helps that your third co-host is much more attractive than I am. So that was wonderful. So anyway, great job, you guys. Great work, Randy. Thank you so much, and thrilled to be back.
All right. Well, on that note, Mike, do you have anything?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. Well, all I've got is a excited hankering to drive south on I-35, go mix it up, look at some action figures, talk figs, and eat some barbecue and hang out. And in the meantime, and in between time, we will see y'all later. But when it comes to the Dallas Fort Worth GI Joe Fest and making a day out of it, you guys helped us figure it out. Take care. Bye.
Thank you.
Now I'm about to go. Like, I'm seriously about to just unbox this rock and roll and not even record it. I don't care. He's got to get free.